book of Revelation shares a lot of symbolism with John's Gospel in talking about Christ as the Lamb, using the number 7 and so on. But actually, it's written in a very different style of Greek. And one of the key differences is that the book of Revelation seems to follow different grammatical rules, actually to the extent of using cases in a different way from standard Greek. Some people have seen that as partially deliberate, a certain protesting going on, or people have tried to explain it in other ways, whether John's Gospel was written using an amanuensis or secretary, and so on. And there is John in Patmos with no secretary, just writes it as he remembers it, assuming Greek's a second language. If you're an Aramaic speaker, you don't know much about how cases work, and so you would write as it came to you. But despite the fact that it does have this peculiar Greek, it is very deliberately crafted in terms of the word choice and the way symbolism is used. So it's not that it's casually written, it is deliberately written, but it is written in a way that would have horrified many classical Greeks. The book of Revelation begins in a rather surprising way. This is what it says: "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave to him to show to his servants the things that must soon take place, he made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw." Now, what's so surprised about that is it seems to be saying that the revelation was given by God to Jesus Christ, who gave it to his angel, who gave it to John, who gives it to his people. Now, that seems to express the indirectness. And normally people don't want to do that because they feel that would be undermining the reliability of the message if it's come through so many steps. But of course, one of the key themes in those opening verses is the phrase faithful witness. If someone is a faithful witness, it actually doesn't matter how many steps something comes through. And so it's really encouraging people to be faithful witnesses. A significant thing about the book of Revelation comes up in the 3rd verse of the book, where it says, "Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near." And there it says, very interesting, you have one person reading the book out to the congregation and the congregation listening. And it says, "Blessed are those who hear and keep it." And what it doesn't say is, "Blessed are those who understand it." Because the whole thing about the book of Revelation is it's there to be obeyed. It's something practical. And at the end of the book of Revelation, it says there are 2 ways. There is the way of blessing and there's the way of cursing. Anyone who takes away from this book will have their name taken away from the book of life. Anyone who adds to the book will have added to them the curses. And so there's a blessing and a cursing to be received. And this is why it's such a practical book, because the thing that it encourages is faithfulness, heeding and obeying what Christ says. And that's more important than understanding it all. It's not that you have to have everything in the book of Revelation charted out in order to get it, because people who have been suffering persecution down the history of the church have been really encouraged by this book, even though they may not have been able to understand every part of it. They understand enough to see what their task is. And what the book of Revelation does, it's written to people, many of whom are suffering terrible situations. It writes to churches about the practical situations they find themselves in. 5 out of the 7 churches written to deeply compromised. And then it opens the door on heaven and how God has this amazing plan to make the Lamb that was slain the center of all things, the center of all worship. And you need to catch the vision of that. And then what it will do is opens up more of what's going in heaven and what will go on earth. And essentially there are 2 groups of people. There is one group that has the mark of the beast because they follow the opposite of the Lamb and they worship him. And those who have the mark of the beast have the anger, the wrath of the Lamb on them. On the other hand, you can have the mark of the Lamb. You can be sealed by him, and then you will avoid the anger of the beast and the dragon and all of the terrible things that there are on earth. And there's no 2 ways about it. You have to fall into one of these two groups. And those who are truly wanting to follow Christ will suffer deeply, but at the end, of course, there is complete and final victory when Christ is ruler over all, and there are those who are gathered with him. And for those who don't want to follow Christ, there is the terrible picture of the lake of fire and how they will be punished forever and ever. And so there is that very stark message that we need to follow Christ at all costs.